السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وبعد. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, "Man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj." Said, whoever amongst you is able to should get married. And he said, فَإِنَّهُ أَحْسَنُ أَغَضُّ لِلْبَصَرِ وَأَحْسَنُ لِلْفَرْجِ. He said, if you do that, then that will actually be more protective of your glance or your eyes. And it will أَحْسَنُ لِلْفَرْجِ. It is more preserving of your honor or your dignity when it comes to your chastity. And then he said, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَسْتَطِعْ فَعَلَيْهِ بِالصَّوْمِ. Whoever is not able to do that, meaning whoever is not able to get married, then they should fast. فَإِنَّهُ لَهُ وِجَاء. Because that will be a shield for him or for her. So the Prophet ﷺ, he's giving advice to people who are young. He said, يَا مَعْشَرَ الشَّبَابِ مَنِ اسْتَطَعَ مِنْكُمُ الْبَأْتَ فَلْيَتَزَوَّجْ. Oh young people, whoever amongst you is able to get married, you should get married. Why? Because if you get married, it's going to be easier for you to not fall into sin, to not fall into doing something haram, meaning having a relationship. But not only having a relationship, he actually said, even the glance, even the things that you look at, it'll protect you from that. At least it's supposed to protect you from that. And he said, if you can't do that, then you should be fasting, because fasting will help you achieve that similar result. So we're fasting in the month of Ramadan. And many people, most people, they keep up the physical aspect of their fast. They don't sneak in a little drink of water here and there. They don't sneak in a little cookie or a snack in the middle of the day. But one of the things that they end up doing is they forget that when you're fasting, you're also supposed to be guarding your tongue. Like we talked about yesterday, you're supposed to guard what you say, but you're also supposed to be guarding your eyes as well. The other parts of your body are fasting. It's not just your stomach, food and your private parts, but you're also fasting with your eyes. And if you're fasting with your eyes, that means that you're going to be tempted the same way that you're tempted with water, the same way that you're tempted with food when you're walking through a mall or you're walking somewhere and somebody who's attractive to you all of a sudden appears and you're tempted to look. Or you're watching something and all of a sudden a picture of somebody or a video of somebody pops up and now you're tempted to glance and you're tempted to look. Now you're not supposed to do that anyways when you're not fasting. But when you're fasting, you have to be extra cautious. You have to be extra careful. And some people don't take this very seriously. What they do is they say, you know what, fasting is food, drink, and intimacy. The other stuff, it's not a big deal. But the Messenger of Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made a direct link between fasting and between controlling your eyes. So we live in a society today where people try to sell products with a beautiful face or a beautiful body. You'll find advertisements. I remember an old video from Ahmed Didat. Sheikh Ahmed Didat, he mentioned this one time. He said, people, they will, in order to sell a product, they'll put a beautiful girl there in like a bikini or something like that next to the product. And he said, what's going on in Western society? He was saying this decades ago. And what's going on in Western society? So are you selling the product or you're selling the girl? What are you selling actually? And if anyone's into like fast cars, like into souped up cars and turbos and custom cars and all that, a lot of youth are. If you go to any car show, and I'm not telling you that you should, if you go to any of these car shows with like 800 horsepower, 1000 horsepower souped up cars, every single car that you have, they're going to put a female model next to that car. She's either going to be lying on top of the car, she'll be standing next to the car. And you know what? She probably couldn't even drive that car. She has no knowledge about that car whatsoever. You ask her anything about the car, she probably couldn't tell you a single thing. But why'd they put her there? Eye candy. Just so that you can go, look at the car, is cool. The girl is, good looking. And this is how people market things. So we live in a society where not only are there temptations around us, the temptations are literally marketed to you. They're literally pushed towards you. And that's why it's like being in a society where every time you're fasting, someone's constantly saying, drink this, eat this, do that. We're in the same boat. And fasting is our testing zone. Fasting is our training ground. Are we able to resist those temptations? Fasting is supposed to get us to the point where we're constantly saying no throughout the day to food, no throughout the day to water. We need to say no throughout the day to looking at things we're not supposed to look at. Because once you look, it goes into your eyes and it goes into your heart. And once it's in your heart, it becomes very difficult for you to resist now, and then you just start wanting more and more and more. These are desires. These are not desires. Some people, they say, you know what? I hear even some parents, I've heard them say this. They say, you know what? My kid is young right now. Okay, we want to make sure that he marries a Muslim girl from our culture and from our tribe and our society. But right now, we don't want him to get married. He's too young. He's not mature enough. It's okay, man. Let him have some fun, when he's young. Get it out of his system. He'll mature, become wise, and then he'll settle down with like a good girl or something like that. Brothers and sisters, this is not something that you try once and then you get it out of your system. This is like drugs. Once you get one hit in your system, you crave more and more and more, and you become dependent on it. So we have to protect our sight. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to preserve our dignity and our honor. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect our eyes from looking at anything which would be displeasing to Him. Ameen. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Assalamu alaikum.